the country will not be able to move on until Boris Johnson goes. So despite the fact that for the Labour Party, it'd be an absolute delight if Boris Johnson stayed, I want him to go. Yes, I think the Prime Minister has lied. Well, certainly Parliament was misled, and the Prime Minister was the person who misled Parliament, and I think he did so knowingly, yes. So I've stood aside from that inquiry. But today, in a sense, isn't about that almost. It's about much bigger issues. I note that the big line that loyalists are using is he's got the big questions right. Well, I disagree with that. Only a year ago he was saying that the days of tanks rolling across Europe was over. Well, tell that to the people of Ukraine. During COVID, they were releasing people into care homes when they were asymptomatic but passed on COVID, and many people died because of that. That was another big call got wrong. And incidentally, Nadine Dorries has proved today, beyond any doubt, that the government wasn't prepared properly for COVID at all.
Yeah, although you're expressing the doubts, more than doubts, the outright hostility, which is actually your job as a member of the opposition party.
I'm a Labour MP, so but you asked me on.
I did, and you're very welcome. I mean,
I haven't forced myself.
Look, if I hadn't made you feel welcome, you're incredibly welcome, Chris Bryant. But if you hadn't said what you just said, I'd have been most surprised. Someone like you, who's been around the place a while, you talk to people on both sides. You've got mates on both sides of the House of Commons. I just wonder, at this early stage, what are we, 4:15, still, what is it, I don't know, getting on for 5 hours before we get the official result? But what is your instinct telling you about where this is heading? Do you have a sneaking feeling the Prime Minister might just pull off another escape act?
Well, Harriet Harman once told me something very clever when I first arrived in Parliament, which was, Chris, you are not a commentator, you are a player. You want to change the nation. So I'm really bad at commenting, and I know I look like Mystic Meg, but I have absolutely no Mystic Meg abilities. So my guess is it's unknown. As you said earlier, if anybody said that they knew what it would be deluded, and I wouldn't want to be called deluded by John Pienaar.
No, but it is unknown. I mean, that's just strictly accurate.
The big point is, if you look at history, once a first vote of no confidence has been called by a party and their leader, it tends just to be a question of time thereafter before they go. Even if they win the first one, there'll be another one. You still got the by-elections to come, and that will make people very jittery. In fact, if Boris wins tonight, the people of Wakefield and Honiton and Tiverton are even more likely, I think, to vote against
Okay, we're going to be looking into those runes in the course of the programme, just as you'd expect. Before you leave us, and again, you're very welcome. Thank you for coming over,
you want
Chris
me to
Bryant.
go, and I'm going
to ask you one more question, if I may. Will you be honest with me now and tell me?
I will be honest with you.
There's a corner of your heart that would really rather like the Prime Minister to survive because you've reached the view that he's a liability to his party and in that way an asset to yours.
I think for the Labour Party, it'd be great if Boris Johnson were to survive. For the nation, however, I think we've got big issues coming up: the cost of living crisis, the situation in Ukraine, the fact that people can't get passports, they can't go on holidays because there aren't enough staff to staff the airports and the airplanes and all the rest of it. All of that needs a Prime Minister with strong moral authority, and this is a Prime Minister with absolutely none. So the country will not be able to move on until Boris Johnson goes. So despite the fact that for the Labour Party, it'd be an absolute delight if Boris Johnson stayed. I want him to go.
Okay, I'll let that sit right there.